Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Geek Centurions. It's me, your boy Eli, and I'm here with good old Daniel and Joey, and we're back to talk about the Game Awards. And if you've been around, you guys know that we like video games and we like to talk about it. And it's a continuation of what essentially was our last episode where we gave our predictions. Here, we're going to talk about the results. Some of us were right, some of us were wrong. Some of it, as Daniel will elaborate later on, is kind of questionable. We'll have to wait and see. Before we get to that, we're going to talk about some of our key announcements because the Game Awards always comes out with a big game announcement. We might have all have the same one, might have others, but we'll just go with a quick round of one of our favorites announcements. So, Daniel, why don't you start us off? What was one of your favorite game announcements?
My favorite announcement is easily hands down the one winged angel himself, the most infamous waifu killer known in the gaming community, Sephiroth being in Super Smash Bros.
Oh yeah, no, I see what you're saying. That was a reveal because I think the whole time I was like, it's Sora, it's Sora, it's Sora. Oh, it's another anime based character.
What you mean? Like he was from Kingdom Hearts.
Boy, don't you start with it.
in like two of the games.
Fair enough.
Good luck on again, like last time.
No, he looks like an awesome character, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, Jay, what was one of your big and favorite announcements of the Game Awards?
I will say, not necessarily favorite because more so pretty hilarious to me. Is Ark 2, a sequel to Ark Survival Evolved, the game that's like a survival game with dinosaurs and future tech and stuff, that has Vin Diesel being like a main character. Like,
somehow.
Yeah, which is like it's like the weirdest thing imaginable. So I mean, I guess they also announced that they're doing like an animated series with it as well, and we got to see a clip of it. But yeah, no, it's super weird how that game has gone like that much support considering how buggy the first game is.
I mean, I never played it, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I think what mostly surprised me about that was like they also announced an Ark animated series.
Yeah, the animated series that has like Russell Crowe apparently gonna be in it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bunch of other people.
Yeah, Elliot Page, even Vin Diesel's in there as well.
Yeah, so that's just like all kinds of weird.
There's a lot of weird in all one area.
Like I never thought Ark was like that popular. I knew it was kind of big when it was in like a early access stage, but like I'm like shocked it it has the momentum to make a sequel and an animated series. Super weird.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. And speaking of like weird unknown continuations, we also have the continuation of Dragon Age, and while we don't know much about it, it's a little exciting to see Dragon Age come back. Also, probably one of the big announcements that I've seen was the announcement of a new Mass Effect game. Even though a lot of people are kind of like, well, not upset. It's more like Mass Effect, because all it says the story continues, and I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean?
Oh yeah, no, it was like the last announcement of the Game Awards.
Yeah.
I think it just meant that it's supposed to be like a continuation from Shepard's story, even though he's dead.
Okay, see, that makes a little more sense.
But yeah, no, I think a lot of people are just sort of like cautiously optimistic because they're like,
I mean, people are right to be because the last one, Anthem, was bad, and then even before Anthem, there was Andromeda, and then there was like reports of like severe crunching where the employees and devs there were like they weren't doing too hard, like they were basically like mental issues and all that kind of stuff from the horrible business practices. Yeah, and especially with Anthem, because like that one, like I think they only started development like I think with 1 year left before release.
Yeah, no, Anthem did not turn out well.
But I will say my favorite announcement was Perfect Dark, a new Perfect Dark game, which is on like, wow, a classic from the N64 era was coming back under Microsoft, which seems kind of a lot of fun, but we'll have to wait and see how that turns out.
Yes, and this is the quadruple A game that they said that was going to be from Microsoft.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it's a cinematic trailer, but it looks goddamn good.
Yeah, no, I was sort of like, what the hell is this? And then it's like, oh, right, Perfect Dark. Because I think there were rumors that supposedly there was going to be another Perfect Dark for Series X and stuff. And I guess I just figured like they would announce that, like, I don't know, maybe next year. But no, it is sort of surprising to see them come up with that sort of like now.
Yeah, I mean, and considering the rest of the announcements, it's kind of a little slow. But we got hit with some good ones. Like Daniel said earlier, Sephiroth. Did we mention the Evil Dead game?
Yeah, they brought up Evil Dead game.
You know, that looks awesome as an Evil Dead fan. I'm down for that. Perfect Dark, all the stuff that Joey said, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Looks like we're gonna have a good year. Now let's get to the categories that we talked about. We didn't mention all the categories. We mentioned the ones we mentioned about art. We will announce, talk about the results. So, Joey, will start us off.
I'm just gonna go off the list that I found that sort of contextualizes all the award winners pretty easily. For best score and music, which we did talk about, went to Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, and we all agreed that it would have been Doom Eternal, and that's a big L for us.
I mean, to be fair, it's music, so
it's true. Like, as much as I love this, well,
I'll let you finish.
As much as I really love the soundtrack for Doom Eternal, like it was a pretty tough competition with Final Fantasy VII Remake.
No, I'm with you. I was gonna say if I was gonna receive an L for anybody, I would happily take it for Final Fantasy. Like it's one that I'm not even gonna argue. It could have gone either way.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got, Joey?
I believe we discussed Best Action Adventure Game.
Yeah.
Which went to The Last of Us Part 2, which will be a recurring trend throughout all these award winners.
Yeah, well. And so what are your thoughts on that one, Daniel? I think, who do we choose for that game? For that category?
I'm trying to remember. Let's see. You said it was Action Adventure?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm trying to break up this whole list. Okay, here we go. Who was being nominated? So, Action Adventure.
Don't worry, we'll bring it up.
Yeah, so like it was The Last of Us Part 2, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Ori the Will of the Wisps.
That's right, that was Joy's big Jedi Fallen Order. Right?
Marvel, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, my pick was Star Wars.
And I believe my pick was also Star Wars.
I don't remember what I said, but
to be fair, it was like we did it quickly.
I feel like you said Ghost of Tsushima.
Maybe, yeah, but like now thinking about it now, I think I probably would have rooted for Spider-Man as well.
Yeah, we'll go back one of these days. But anyways, let's just give our thoughts on the winners. So Last of Us 2, do you think that was a right choice, Daniel? By the way, considering the fact that these are decided by people / the judges. So do you think this is rightfully deserving?
I can't really say. This is more like in the genre rather than like everything else itself. But like I said before, I have not played The Last of Us Part 2, so the only basis of the combat I could just relate to is from the first one.
And we're saying that it's very similar to the first one.
Yeah, so I heard like it's very similar. The only difference is that now that you play as Ellie, you have like a little bit more of a movement and extra things you can do, like hide under vehicles or like squeeze through like between like I don't know slips or anything like through walls or anything like that. I probably would have given it to someone else. Like, I probably would have given like to Spider-Man or Ghost.
Fair enough. I feel like Ghost would have probably taken it. So, Joey, what do you think is who's our next?
looking down the list, I believe.
By the way, these are not in order, so we're just going off by the way.
Yeah. We didn't talk much about the esports stuff. No, I'm pretty sure we talked about. Did we talk about best esports game?
We did not.
No. Skipping all the esports stuff because there's really wasn't a lot to talk about with that. Best performance. Laura Bailey as Abby in The Last of Us Part 2, which I definitely call that one.
I think I called that one too.
Okay, I was wrong on that one. I said it was Jen. Or, I forgot. Who was the guy that named Jen? Let me see. What is it? Sorry, I thought we were going to go off like the Game Awards website, but I didn't see you were getting your own list.
We're getting it from a Reddit post, so just because like the winners.
Oh, okay. I was looking through here because it has like the other nominees as well. Okay. So yeah, I made my pick for Daisuke Tsuji, and I was wrong with that one. It turns out I was wrong about the performer too. I made a mistake where I said like the guy who was voicing the Japanese dub for Jin was Daisuke. That was wrong. That was actually the English voice. So so I never heard his performance once at all, but I'm sure it was great. But Laura Bailey is a great actress. Laura works a lot. I mean, she was amazing as Catherine in Catherine, Rise Kujikawa in Persona 4, and countless other animes that I used to watch back then, like Shin-Chan or anything else. But yeah, like she did a great job, and like I could definitely see her winning, and she won. So she did a great job at earning that award.
It's one of those things you can't take away from her.
Yeah.
She's been in the voice acting business for a long time, so.
Really did. Like,
all the way to young.
Yeah, and like DBZ, yeah. So she's been around for a while, so seeing her,
Yeah, like she has a very long history and resume and everything. Yeah, she definitely like has the props and everything.
Yeah, she's still voicing characters today. She's the main voice for Black Widow in a lot of games and TV.
Yeah.
So she's worked her ass off. Her and her husband, Travis Willingham, one of the best voice actors I've seen.
Yeah. Like,
we want to say something else, Dan? Go for it.
Like, no, I was just gonna say like I did feel bad for Laura because like ever since the Last of Us 2 came out, she'd been receiving death threats over her character Abby, and I like that really sucked for her.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as we go.
Yeah, right.
That is an important note to talk about when we get close to Game of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the next one I have on the list was best ongoing game, which went to No Man's Sky.
Joey lost 3-peat.
Well, to be fair, you agreed with me on the
fair enough.
So I was definitely sort of like, it's Fortnite. People are gonna vote for it. Like a bunch of the preteens will vote for Fortnite because they have the power, and I was wrong this time.
And I'm gonna say right now, you are not upset about being wrong. Neither am I.
Yeah, no, I just thought it'd be very funny if Fortnite won a third time. But I mean, the No Man's Sky community really has enjoyed No Man's Sky. So.
Yeah, I called it. I told you. I mean, they fall in for grace, and they rose it back up like the Phoenix, and like Hello Games. They're not like a beloved game studio right now. They are working on another game right now. That will be released on Nintendo Switch. I don't know if it will be coming out to other platforms as well. But yeah, they totally worked their ass off on No Man's Sky, making it the game that it is right now, and seeing it going strong even now. It's amazing.
I mean, I'll say this. I having seen a lot of the updates and stuff, including how they're making a next gen update for the new consoles. I am kind of interested in getting No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
it's at a decent price right now too.
Yeah, so like and a lot of the content is like free updates and stuff. So yeah, I will say that I am interested in at least like playing it over the years now. So yeah.
Yeah, like they owned up to their mistakes, and they made it what the game is now, and people are loving it.
Right.
All right. Yeah. All right, Joey. Who's our next winner?
For best art direction, Ghost of Tsushima was the winner. Which
I got it wrong.
yeah, I think I went for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah, I went with that because I was assuming that a lot of people's
And
nostalgia
I
for
was
that
going
game.
with the clear underdog, which storyline Will of the Wisp, because I really love that art style, and I was wrong. And Daniel, it seems like you got it right again.
Recall it. I was Ghost. Like I said, they did their research so much into like to the Japanese culture and everything that they even went into like some parts of its culture where like most Japanese people wouldn't be aware of themselves. So like the amount of work they put into, like with everything in the game, it's it's insane. So like I said, they would win for the work, and they did.
Yeah. All right, enjoy it. Who's our next winner?
For best action game, Hades, which
Who were the contenders for that again?
I know that Doom was one of them off the top of my head.
I think The Last of Us was in that one as well.
No, it was Hades, Doom Eternal, Streets of Rage 4, Half-Life Alyx, and Neo 2.
Mm-hmm.
I also went for Doom.
I think I'm pretty sure we all went Doom.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all.
Like, that caught me off guard because like I thought Doom would have won in that one.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be a common thing for Doom. And so you think they won, but they didn't.
Yeah, I mean it's a nice pickup for Hades though, being an independent game and all, and sort of winning in that category against all those like games. Well, I guess the Streets of Rage 4 would probably be, I guess, like a similar contender to that. But yeah, I think Hades was kind of like seen as a bit of an underdog in that category, and winning is all pretty solid for them.
Yeah, like seeing them like win these kind of awards right now, it actually makes me want to go check the game out now.
All right, Joe, who's the next winner?
All right, for best VR AR game, Half-Life Alyx, which was no surprise. I believe I called it.
I mean, it's Valve.
Valve.
I said Squadron. I'm not surprised I lost to Valve.
Yeah, like
I told you, like I played all of these other VR games on my PlayStation, and I knew that even though I never played it, Half-Life Alyx would win.
It's just the Half-Life hype.
It's the prestige, man.
Yeah, the Valve prestige wins you awards.
Yeah, like I mean, Half-Life Spec, the G-Man, VR, and everything. It's awesome.
Now, if only they made Half-Life 3, they would win all the awards.
Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves now.
Best family game, Half-Life 3. Best sports game, Half-Life 3.
It's not shut up, you.
When it's too damn long, it wins everything. We don't care if it's a buggy mess. It wins everything. Okay.
That's the moment. What's his name? The owner of Valve. One of my friends says the moment he announces Half-Life 3, when he turns to dust.
Yeah, Gabe Newell.
Yeah, he turns to dust the moment he announces it.
Gabe Newell.
All right, so best sports racing game went to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Daniel called that one. Daniel's on a roll today.
I believe. I feel like we all agree that it would probably be Tony Hawk, though.
Yeah, we all give our own different opinions. Like I gave it to
You gave it the Dirt 5.
I gave it a Dirt 5.
I mean, I can give a quick summary of why Tony Hawk wins. Tony Hawk, it's a remastered fun skateboarding game. NBA 2K21. Let's say I don't know, like loot boxes or whatever they call in 2K. FIFA 21, same thing. F1 2020. I don't know anything about the game, so I can't roast it. And Dirt 5, it's like from what I hear, it's actually a really good racing game, so I can't roast that one either. But yeah.
All right. So who's the next winner?
Let me just come over here. Did we talk about most anticipated game? No, I don't think we did.
No, we did not. But I think that one was
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring, which sadly we did not get an announcement.
Which it was pretty funny because Jeff Keighley was like, "There, I said it, Elden Ring," and no announcement for Elden Ring.
Like the fact that he brought up Elden Ring means that it's real. We just gotta keep looking.
It exists. But sadly, like the rest of the A Song of Ice and Fire books, we're not gonna get it because George R. R. Martin's involved.
Yeah. So, all right.
Dragon took out just you wait.
Yeah. So best narrative went to The Last of Us Part 2.
Who were the nominees for that?
It was the same nominees, I believe, for Game of No, I lied. It was Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim.
I think I said 7.
I went with Ghost. Like I said before, I've actually played 13 Sentinels. I probably would have given it to that, but I haven't, so I can't say 13.
I mean, we'll talk about this when we get to the game award, the winner of the game award for narrative.
I believe they also went with Final Fantasy VII, so yeah, I definitely did not pick the right horse in that race.
Which, by the way, isn't that supposed to be coming out for other consoles next year?
Which one?
7, Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I'm not sure when is it coming out, but yeah, they didn't say it was like forever exclusive. It was more of a time exclusive.
Yeah, all right. So next game, Games for Impact, which we discussed. Tell me why.
Yeah, I got that right.
I honestly don't remember what game I picked for that. I think I may have gone with your pick, but again, it was a category that I wasn't very.
Yeah, it was a category. It was a category that we weren't that interested in.
My pick was Spiritfarer, so I was wrong. But it's cool because I think Erica Lindbeck is in Tell Me Why, so like I like her work, so yeah, so it's good that the game she was in wins.
It still wins.
Yeah, so best multiplayer game, which I was wrong, I'm pretty sure, was Among Us.
I think I called that one.
Yeah, like I was wrong too. I went with Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for that team, right? Because they're very small, and obviously when they won, they were like very excited about it. I mean, it beat out Call of Duty Warzone, which
Like that is impressive. Like,
Among Us or Fall Guys, but either way, I'm pretty sure it got a win.
yeah, and also Violent Fall. Yeah, it was a pretty stacked category, but I mean, just seeing how popular that game is on
And the excitement from the developers was so amazing. It's so good. It's so wholesome up there.
Yeah, very, very, very wholesome. Yeah. So let's go to the next one I have on this list. Best indie game, Hades, which I don't think surprised me.
I don't think that surprised any of us.
Like it kind of surprised me because I like Splunky a lot. I know a lot of people like Splunky a lot, but seeing Hades win. I know I heard of Hades before. I just never realized actually people really liked it a lot. So yeah, I good job to the team behind Hades.
Yeah, they won 2 awards, which is pretty good for an independent game.
Yeah.
So best audio design, The Last of Us Part 2,
which we all got wrong again.
Yeah, because we all went for Doom.
And seeing the gameplay for Last of Us 2, it's someone I don't mind losing to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I mentioned it before in the last discussion. I think having the game Last of Us Part 2 is a solid, very sort of immersive sort of game with all the sound it does, right? Especially because you have to be constantly hearing for like the weird plant zombies and stuff. So it's a lot of good. They put a lot. I feel like they did put a lot of work in their audio design. So.
I mean, I guess so. This is what I would actually go more towards Doom Eternal and not Last of Us. Because the amount of work they go into making all the audio designs in that game is crazy. Like I still remember in the first Doom to replicate some of the exploding demons. What they do is they cover a slab of meat and honey and blow on it with a vuvuzela and stuff. But yeah, I mean, again, I never played The Last of Us 2, so I wouldn't know what to go by with their audio design. So I mean, if it's justified, I guess it's justified. But I don't know. I'm more leaning in toward Doom. I think Doom should have won that one.
Yeah, we're gonna be reading that a lot today.
Yeah. All right. So next award, best RPG, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
No surprise there.
Yeah, honestly, no surprise. Like, it definitely probably has that spot locked down. I mean, Persona 5 had already won best RPG back when it first came out.
Yeah, like yeah, I was kind of thinking Persona 5 will win again because I mean it's just a great game. It was getting like tens from almost every media outlet from there, but yeah, it's kind of amazing to see Yakuza Like a Dragon because I think this is the first time Yakuza ever got nominated for any kind of awards. But I mean, like I'm definitely fine with a pick here because I love Final Fantasy, I love Persona, and I am a big fan of Yakuza. So seeing all of them get nominated there, it's just, it makes me happy enough.
Yeah. So, best sim/strategy game, Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I definitely called.
And Dan, I think you called that one too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah, I was the one that think Gears Tactics.
I mean, like, not for nothing. You know, like, it's just that like Microsoft Flight Simulator just looks very pretty.
Oh no, you're right, and it's coming for Xbox later this year.
Next
or?
year.
Yeah, this coming summer.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's not a bad game.
I was wrong. I said Gears Tactics. That's what I think it looked like a good game. If it wasn't going to be an Xbox, it would have been Gears Tactics. Thankfully, I mean, it's still a win for the Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure we didn't really talk much about the Player's Voice Award, but Ghost of Tsushima won that one.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you know, that's sort of a more like purely popularity vote of like Gauntlet stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, obviously, like tons of people liked it. So, it's it's the people's vote, you know.
Yeah. All right. Let's see the next one, Jay.
All right, so best fighting game, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate. So I was wrong.
And I was right.
By the way, the way they revealed that was so cheesy.
I honestly expected like one of two things with Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, it was Ralph Macchio and the Japanese actor Kurt Giffords.
Yeah, so they were announcing best fighting game, which yeah, I guess because they're in a movie about karate and stuff. I had picked Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, which I felt was probably the only decent contender in terms of new, but of course, anime fighters don't win anything.
Wait till goes again.
Hopefully. You know, like, listen, all right? There's no fighting games possibly in contention in next year. No way. No.
Yeah.
That would be pretty amazing. But yeah, I believe you picked Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
And yeah, Daniel picked Mortal Kombat 11, which I mean,
again, that's something that you don't mind taking.
Yeah, no, because it's looking at all of the stuff that Mortal Kombat 11 has done, especially with all the DLC characters and all that stuff, and having a pretty well balanced story mode. You know, it's sort of the perfect package for a fighting game. It's just that the Mortal Kombat style of gameplay, then you're kind of just like.
Yeah, I forgot to bring this up the last time too, but like I do like the new system, the way they work, with they under like enhanced moves or defense moves. Like instead of having like to fight and build your meter up over the duration of the match, they just reload as you play, regardless. So like it's just a strategy of whether should I enhance this, and extend my combos, or should I just play it safe? And same with a defense move where like you can just sacrifice a defense bar for like to cancel out a combo from your opponent's attack or something like that. But yeah, like MK deserved it and they won.
Yeah.
And what's our next winner doing?
Games with best accessibility. Last of Us Part 2, which I called that one.
Yeah, and what was the other categories? I think another one was
Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Grounded, Hyperroot, and Watch Dogs Legion.
I think I gave it to Grounded.
Yeah, I gave it to Grounded too because again, we weren't really aware of what these games did for accessibility until the Game Awards, came out and announced it. Like, I think for Assassin's Creed, there's subtitles to let you know it's like you can hear like the rattles of your enemies, like chains or something like that, so they're close. Grounded, we already said, just like a arachnophobia meter, where the more you increases, the more goofy looking the spiders are, so they don't look like real spiders.
Yeah, which I mean, honest, when they showed the example of how that worked, I was like very sort of like, oh, that's really interesting.
And yeah, so Last of Us Part 2, which basically made it easier for you to do yourself and do fights and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think they just highlighted like the enemies, like the red ones are the hostile ones, and I think maybe the blue is your ally.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like Grounded could have easily won that. I don't blame them for Last of Us Part 2 because that helps people who just want to go with the story and don't want to.
Like either way, these games they made it where more people can get in, make it more accessible, make it more playable for everyone else, and I think that's the more important thing, that more people can actually play these games and actually have fun like with the rest of us.
Yeah.
What's the next category doing?
Best mobile game. Among Us, which I sadly did not call.
I called Among Us.
Listen, Genshin Impact on mobile, that's pretty crazy. I'm just saying, it's.
I mean, it is amazing. I mean, you can even share accounts with your PS4 or Nintendo Switch counterpart. So you play it on your Switch or your PS4, and then if you're outside, I mean, Nintendo Switch, you need an internet for that. There's no 3G or anything built into it, so that's why you have your phone with you. So, yeah, I'll give it that. Like, and as far as I'm aware, I think they all have like the same experience, regardless, what platform you're on. They still play the same and everything.
Yeah, it's just yeah. I'm just gonna assume it's because it's a gotcha game that people are fine with just watching ads instead of having to pay hundreds of dollars to get that one character they want.
I mean, I see how far gotcha games can get. I saw like a guy spend like $3,000 buying iTunes gift cards for a specific game, and he still didn't get the character you wanted.
Yeah. It's the life of the gotcha. Once it's literally in the name. They gotcha. They got your wallet.
I mean, if you're really trying to get a PNG picture of your favorite character, why not just go to Google Images and just copy it, from there?
It doesn't feel the same, Daniel. It feels, you just found it on the internet. It feels it's the gambler's dilemma, I think, right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to justify my
unhealthy obsession.
Listen, I haven't spent money on Fire Emblem.
Like, do we need an intervention? Do we need to talk?
I don't need an intervention. I haven't spent I may have spent $5, but that was like year one, alright?
Like, that's how it starts. That was what I mean with Overwatch. Okay, I'll buy maybe one loot box, and then there's a character skin I want.
Overwatch loot boxes than fucking mobile gotcha games. So, the Mercy skins were definitely, because let me buy the skins directly, Blizzard, please.
That's all we want.
But that's not how we make a lot of money. You gotta get it randomly.
League does it perfectly fine, and they're like one of the biggest games in the world. All right.
I like how this all deteriorated into.
I'm sorry.
Switch shit on Blizzard.
Listen, I'm just saying, right? Blizzard clearly, if they wanted part of the esports money, they should have followed League of Legends. That's why Overwatch League is bad.
Yeah, we haven't.
We're bad.
I mean, I wouldn't get that. I mostly follow stuff like Combo Breaker and Evo and so on.
Thanks, Winter.
All right. Back on track. Best game direction. Let's take a wild guess. The Last of Us Part 2.
Wow, that's so shocking. And Who was the other ones for the?
So the other nominees were Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and then those.
Or Final Fantasy
I went with Ghost with that one because again, with by same reasoning behind for best art, but okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I believe I went with Ghost as well. But yeah, no, obviously, it's it's pretty big pick for a game like that.
Yeah.
All right, so last game, the game of the year as chosen by the Game Awards, The Last of Us Part 2. So yeah,
And we didn't mention. Well, we gave an idea of who we were more leaning to, but we didn't really give the idea of who would win the game of the year because, like, as I said, I think I said it in the video in the last episode that really anyone could win it. It's Last of Us 2, which, and this is where majority of our conversation is going to be on whether or not The Last of Us 2 deserved it. Because the moment it was announced that Last of Us 2 won Game of the Year, very mixed reactions at best.
I called it too. Like, regardless of what happens, people will be mad.
Yeah, and earlier we talked about this narrative, and obviously now has been a certain amount of time since the Last of Us 2 release, so we can talk about the narrative. The narrative itself was very split.
Yeah, I believe that was sort of it's like the one thing I feel like makes you either love the game or hate the game.
Yeah, and whether or not we were for the game or not, it has caused a lot of backlash. As Daniel said earlier, Laura Bailey, who played a character who was essential to the story and has done some stuff that really not a lot of people were okay with, made her receive a lot of hate. And hate that really isn't her fault.
It's not, and I wish people would really understand it. Some people have a hard time, differentiating it, but the actor is not the same as the character that they play.
Exactly. And what really, I mean, I'll be honest. When it was revealed that Last of Us 2 won, I wasn't really that shocked, that upset, that angry. I was just like, all right, sounds about. I mean, better than no one, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
What was your reaction to it, Daniel?
I kind of had a little bit of hope in me. Like, in my heart, I said Doom. In my mind, it said Ghost. They were both wrong. And, yeah, I saw it coming. But I'm mostly concerned with the fact that Doom didn't win a single thing rather than The Last of Us didn't, it won Game of the Year.
I mean, I have my own reason as to why I think Doom Eternal probably didn't win. It basically sums up like it came out. It was like one of the first ones to come out to be considered Game of the Year. But that I mean like it came out really early, which for me makes it super easy for another game to outshine it as we get closer to the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been my theory, and I'm not really that upset with it.
Yeah, but
I'll go ahead, Daniel.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like same here. Like again, like instead of like focusing on why did The Last of Us win Game of the Year, I was more like, the Doom didn't win a single award in the other categories. But yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think I had a very. It was a more sort of like a, well, yeah, that makes sense kind of reaction. I think I remember in the last video I was sort of like, oh, would it be neat if the game of the year was Animal Crossing? It's sort of a light-hearted, fun game that sort of just brought a lot of people together, and these sort of current times. But they pick The Last of Us was picked, which I guess for me doesn't truly surprise me because I feel like The Last of Us Part Two definitely sort of leans in hard into I think what a lot of these sort of video game award stuff like to be they sort of like try to be like a better Oscars in a weird way. So the more grounded, realistic, gritty games with that sort of storytelling, I guess, sort of take the will take the Game of the Year award because for them it's like, oh, this isn't just a video game; it's an experience or something like that. Which is sort of like I understand that, but at the same time, like I don't know, it's interesting.
It feels weird because of the backlash that Last of Us received. This almost feels like a backlash to that backlash for a lot of people. So the amount of awards that Last of Us 2 has won. Like best narrative, a lot of people felt like the narrative was really not that great. So why did it win best narrative? The narrative was crap. Why did it win best direction? It should have been Ghost of Tsushima, or it should have been like Daniel said earlier. It should have been Doom Eternal. And let's face it, for some of us, that hate did come from a place of negativity towards it. I think this is my opinion of the story. I think it's not a terrible idea of the story. I think it was just formatted in a way that wasn't the best idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at like the formula, well, not the formula, but like the idea of the story, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with the revenge story. A lot of people say like, oh, it's been done that, but yeah, we still like to watch revenge stories.
Yeah.
At the beginning of time, like literally, go back to the Greek Age. There's a bunch of revenge stories.
Right.
It's just how you present it, and I think the way you presented this one was not great. I don't think it was done in a way that felt deserving. It felt very cheap, and I get that. But at the same time, we can't deny that it's at least an engaging story because those people say it wasn't an engaging story. Yeah, you guys wanted to kill Abby so bad. That's to be funny, but it bled into real life.
Yeah.
Like if that doesn't tell you how invested you were in this game, I don't know what does. I'm not trying to sound funny. I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but it's a story that was that resonated with people. It just resonated in a very negative way. If I'm making any sense, or you want Greg to go ahead?
No, I think I get what you're saying with sort of how like obviously like the story itself meant like at least the story of the first game meant something to a lot of people, and seeing how that story continues in Last of Us Part Two, obviously some people were like, oh, this is an interesting take, this is an interesting direction, being like, what have they done? Why would you do this kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I mean obviously a game sort of would have a story that's compelling enough to like have you sort of have these emotions and stuff.
It just came out in like the worst way because it was directed in a way that didn't.
Yeah, I can definitely understand.
Do you have anything to say, Daniel?
Yeah. Okay. I might have a few things. So, like, even though I never played The Last of Us 2 myself, I was aware of some certain plot points that happened in the story. As a guy that's really indifferent, I actually wouldn't mind if they go like taking a risk in their story, like they just did for The Last of Us 2. But I just feel like it probably could have been executed better because again, if you want to go ahead and make a story of that revenge is bad and everything, that's fine. You want to go ahead and kill off a specific character, that's also fine. But I think it could have been done a little bit better. But as far as I know, like that's how the story went, and not much we could do about it. Plus, yeah, I think the fact that the whole story got leaked before the game even got released. I think like I don't know how long until the game came out, like maybe 1 or 2 months before it came out. That kind of damaged it a lot more with the player's view of the game. So all I can say is like maybe it would have been treated differently if the leaks never came out in the first place. That maybe it wouldn't get as much hate as before. I could be wrong. I mean, but yeah, like having the entire story of the game leaked early definitely damage increased the hatred and the malevolence that occurred throughout the year against The Last of Us. So maybe if it did came out without any leaks or anything like that, maybe it wouldn't receive as much hate.
Yeah, and like I think that's the thing, man. There's the way it was presented to us was the thing that made people really upset, and I think that's why it was such a backlash to the fact that they won Game of the Year, considering all the emotions that people had with this game, so that seeing it win something that, and I said this before in the past video, any one of them deserved it. It wasn't just it wasn't just the Tsushima, Doom Eternal. All the games that were nominated really deserve each one of them. Honestly, if they were now, if Doom Eternal won, I would have been happy. If Tsushima won, I didn't play that game, but I would have been feeling like that's cool. And any of the games that won, I would have been that's cool. Even Last of Us 2. I'm not surprised, but it's cool.
I mean, like all of these games, they got something going on for them. Again, like Doom with its soundtrack and its fast-paced action gameplay. Ghost of Tsushima again with its art direction and its atmosphere and its work on trying to be like a really interesting and fun samurai game. And again, The Last of Us, being The Last of Us, like again, like with so much work, put into it, make it look like a very nice game. Again, like it could actually look like a motion picture if you wanted it to be. Yeah, so like again, like all these games, they had something going on for everyone.
And I think that no matter what, I think we were gonna get a negative reaction to the awards because of it. Because I already saw comments being like worse than the Oscars.
Yeah, like it was rigged and everything like that.
And I don't think it was rigged. I think I think it was a decision made, with the right intentions. A lot of people are like blaming the judges and media like GameSpot, IGN, and all of this stuff for like because that's where some of the judges are from, right?
Yeah, I believe they are sort of prominent members of the gaming journalism community.
Yeah, and they're the ones that like dictate who wins because of the judges.
And I think they said as well that only 10% of the player's voice count towards like who will win. Like pretty much like 90% of it that's from like the judges themselves.
Yeah. You got anything to say?
Yeah, I definitely think that it is sort of like understandable why some people were sort of upset. I mean, it happens all the time. With the Oscars, that there will be like some sort of movies that people will be like, "That's bullshit. Why would that win Best Picture or whatever?" I mean, it's a whole contentious debate of like how a lot of like big motion picture blockbusters don't usually get nominated for like Best Picture stuff. Like, I know Black Panther and like Max Fury Road were nominated for Best Pictures during their time, but they didn't win because there are like other sort of like what people would consider to be more artsy kind of films.
Martin Scorsese level.
Yeah, like would usually sort of win those sort of things. And yeah, it's obviously like I think it's sort of a similar thing here. Probably that's where I think some of the backlash is coming from. Sort of in terms of like Doom Eternal was robbed, Ghost of Tsushima was robbed, Hades was robbed or whatever. because I think, yeah, I do think the judges do have a little bit of a bias in terms of like wanting these cinematic sort of video games. I mean, if I can think off the top of my head, I know God of War definitely had one game of the year back in 2018. Although, granted, it beat out Red Dead 2, which I think could be considered a very sort of cinematic, like story-driven.
They're oftentimes a little too cinematic, in my opinion.
Yeah, very into realism kind of game, being beaten out by God of War, which also goes down a bit of that cinematic route, but also sort of keeps itself to that like action orientated combat and gameplay. Yeah, I think there is a bit of a bias for the Game Awards whenever it comes to stuff like that.
I mean, I'll say this, and I've said this about like stuff like the Oscars, Emmys, or whatever. They don't dictate what you consider to be the best film or game. Daniel, I mean, for you, yours was Ghost of Tsushima or Doom Eternal.
I mean, like, my guess was it was going to be Ghost of Tsushima, but again, that was personally my game of the year that was on this list. That was Doom Eternal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have your own idea of what a game of the year is. I know, like, don't get me wrong, I love Doom Eternal, but there are aspects of it for myself that I'm like, I don't see it being my game of the year. And that's fine. There's aspects I feel like it's a little lacking. That's my own personal preference. It's kind of also the same reason why, I'm not mad that, say, Mad Max Fury Road or Black Panther or hell, which still gets me, Logan wasn't nominated for Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that was like my movie of the year when that came out. Like, good Lord, I almost cried at that movie. And if you want to go with the Game Awards examples, the year that Breath of the Wild won, I loved Breath of the Wild, but I didn't see it being like Game of the Year in my personal opinion. I kind of saw Mario Odyssey be more that, and yet Breath of the Wild won, and I'm like, that's fine. I mean, personally, I would go with Mario Odyssey, and because there's always moments within a game that resonate with you the most.
Mm-hmm.
In Mario Odyssey, it was the jump up superstar moment where you go into that little pipe and you recreate the
you don't see everything's all 8-bit while Pauline is singing in the background.
Yeah, and like you have these moments of reminding you of like all the old Super Mario games, and also like the first Donkey Kong game, and it's just like, oh my god, this is touching my childhood in ways that I'm like, I haven't had in a while.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, you know what, this is my game of the year. Because I rarely do I ever feel that kind of an emotion, especially in games. And seeing that was like, no, this is game of the year. That was my moment. I was like, this is my game of the year. For this year, I'm probably going to give it to something like, Doom Eternal, because that's probably because we're kind of lacking on the games this year, but it was still a pretty good game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that should never take away from what people feel about what they feel. Like, just because Last of Us Part 2 won doesn't mean that is the definitive game of the year, because chances are other games probably won. I mean, how many times you go to a game to buy a new game, and you see a game that didn't win Game of the Year, but has Game of the Year award or whatever, something like that?
Almost never. And most of the time, like, games, they just put themselves like Game of the Year edition, regardless if they won or not.
Exactly my point. Because the other day I saw like Spider-Man Game of the Year edition. I'm like, but it didn't win Game of the Year at the Game Awards.
Like the only time I ever seen like a game put down, like it won an award from the Game Awards, was Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. That's about it. And even if it didn't win an award from that, it most likely would have went to like another another award like thing. For example, like I think the Golden Joystick or something else like that. It would have went with that and put that on their box instead.
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, like different outlets, different opinions, and everything like that. Again, it's just one place. It's just like with fighting games. I mean, yeah, there's Evo, but that's not the definitive place. There's other places where you can enter tourneys.
Combo Breaker. The one that reminds me of wrestling. What's it called?
CEO.
Yeah, CEO.
Yeah, just because Last of Us 2 won here, it's not an offense. It's rather, it's people who view it in a way that makes sense to them. And like I said, none of us have fully experienced The Last of Us 2. But from word of mouth and people who actually can already tell, it's either a negative game for some. It's also a positive game for others. Really, it's a game that should be celebrated for what it has done. And that's what we're here to do. Granted, maybe at some point the Game Awards end up being too much like the Oscars. But at the same time, the Game Awards sort of acknowledge the fan. We had the player's choice, sort of was it
player's voice,
and they're like, Tsushima should have won. They acknowledged it.
Yeah, like they recognized that we wanted Ghost of Tsushima to win, and they let the audience know that's what we picked.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, when has the Oscars ever done something like that?
No, I think I attempted to make a category that's like for the big blockbuster movies or whatever. It was like I don't know, I forget the name of the category.
Popular films or something.
Yeah, and it did not go over well. It was more sort of like, you're just pandering. This isn't. We don't even get a choice here. You were just gonna pick whatever what you want anyway, kind of thing. At least here, yeah, there is some form of like player input, or like audience input. I mean, yeah, the audience may not have as much power as they would like, or whatever. There at least is some sort of input of like, for some people being like, yeah, but for us, like I guess for us who watch the Game Awards or whatever, Ghost of Tsushima is our pick. I mean, sure, the judges will pick Last of Us Part 2, but for us, it was Ghost of Tsushima for X and Y reasons.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe the game you thought was Game of the Year, maybe it wasn't even nominated at all. I mean, for example, like as much as I wanted Doom Eternal to win that award, or any other award, Persona 5 Royal was my personal game of the year for 2020, and it got Best RPG, but it didn't get it wasn't nominated for Game of the Year like it did back in 2017 alongside Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, and so on.
And Joey can talk for hours as to why Three Houses deserve to have music.
Well, I mean, listen, it won Best Strategy Game, I think, or RPG or whatever, last year, which I'm fine with. I was going to more or less say, at least for this year, where was Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition? That Xenoblade is like a true, like, crazy, like...
I mean, it's a remaster, not a full-on remake like Resident Evil 2 last year.
I know that, but still, it would at least be a nice gesture, right? Because I'm pretty sure that game didn't get any nominations when it first came out on the Wii.
Yeah, like...
Re-released on the 3DS,
Mm-hmm.
Deserves some recognition.
Yeah.
Even Xenoblade Chronicles 2 didn't get any recognition.
And we're not saying that there are games that don't deserve it. Everyone has their own preference and choice.
Physically, our point is there are many games that we love that aren't recognized, but we love to talk about it. We love to share, the gameplay, the story, or whatever it is with each other, to our friends or people on the internet or anything else like that.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. I understand that for some people, there's a blatant slap in the face that Last of Us 2 won. And yet there are still people that support it. And there's still people that that are happy to see it win. Just because you feel that it does not represent what the Game of the Year is, doesn't hinder what you want, Game of the Year is to be. I mean, like I said before, Doom Eternal for me, maybe my Game of the Year, but at the same time, I feel like it really doesn't, not that it doesn't deserve it, but I feel like it's lacking in some areas for me to call it a Game of the Year. But if that should game of the year, that should game of the year, man. I ain't gonna take that away from you.
I mean, yeah, again, like it's your opinion. We can't change it. We have our own shit opinions, and you can't change that either.
Listen, man, I'll still listen to the soundtrack every day. I'll go out for a run, listen to that soundtrack and such. And but honestly, I think it's because it feels like there are people that are, because it's something like the journalists. It feels like they're against us, bro. They're not against us. I doubt they're against us.
Like, I mean, I get there's a whole disconnect. Like I don't know, like for example, they can't play games that most of us would be used to, like Cuphead, for example. It's a difficult game, but most of us can play through it. And then, like, there's some people that like they don't know how to get through the tutorial levels. Or I think it was I don't remember. It was either The Verge or Polygon. They uploaded a video on how to build a PC, and they were heavily criticized for building it poorly. And I mean, yeah, I get like there's things like that cause a huge disconnect, but I mean, is there? I don't know, but we could be. I mean, like there's always a huge disconnect. I mean, look at like the same thing happened in cinema. The critics hated the recent Godzilla movie, but we, the audience, loved the hell out of it.
I mean, personally, for me, I feel like there's areas lacking there. I still enjoy the hell out of that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you this now. Me and Joey were jamming at the end of the credits when they started playing a cover of Lewis Colt's Godzilla. We were like, "What is that?" Oh shit! They put it in.
Yeah. No, it was definitely. It was very. It was a very sort of like, I guess, more fan-oriented film. I guess like it's sort of like something like it was a film that a lot of Godzilla fans were like, "Oh, this is nice." Sure, there's definitely some parts that were lacking that I'm pretty sure the critics, were foaming at the mouth about. But I mean, for a giant monster movie, that's just how it is sometimes.
Yeah, they dropped in like Easter eggs or like nods to like the original films, like they originally called Ghidorah Monster Zero, and if you're a big fan like I am, that was one of his names in one of the older Godzilla films, in Godzilla versus Monster Zero, yada yada yada. I can go on and such. That you're right. There can always be a huge disconnect.
Like there's always a disconnect, like regardless of where you'll be, could be in like the world of books, world of cinema, especially in the world of games.
Yeah, I'll give you an example like this. Angry Joe, who's like known for his game reviews, my biggest disconnect when he was talking shit about Street Fighter V. Don't get me wrong, I agree with those criticisms, but it was still a super fun game for me, and I don't blame the developers for focusing so much on the competitive side, because at the same time, the competitive guys are your target audience because they're the ones that are going to continue to play your game.
Mm-hmm. Or with me, was the angry video game nerd. He did an episode of Mega Man and says he didn't like Mega Man and he didn't think it was a very good game. I could disagree with him. I like Mega Man Legends, but that's just his opinion. He wasn't a fan of Legends. I'm a fan of Legends, but I mean, you don't have to agree with everything. Like, I mean, just because this one guy says I like this, but you don't like it, doesn't discredit everything that the person says.
And that's the thing we need to clarify, because a lot of people feel betrayed by the Game Awards for the Last of Us 2-1, and I don't think it's a betrayal. I think it's just their honest take on the game, because when it came out, a lot of reviewers gave it fairly well praise, and oftentimes critics see it in a way that we don't see it, and there'll always be people that that speak for us, that see it the way we see it. But at the same time, we can't disassociate from what they see. Yeah, sometimes some reviewers are hacks, but they usually have some sort of level of understanding of games. Do you have anything to say?
No, I think all the points you guys have said are pretty good points to make. Like, obviously, I'm reminded of the quote that a lot of people sort of use, especially one of my friends that I knew well in college, from Ratatouille, about the food critic and his sort of thing of being like, critics often have like the easiest job in the world where we can just sort of critique things, but it's sort of just saying, going off the lines of like, perhaps, but for most people, even like the most like I don't exactly remember the quote per se, but basically he was pointing out like what we say sometimes won't matter to people because for them something that we could perceive as like garbage is to them like something truly amazing for them, which is fine. That's that it's your opinion at the end of the day of what you like, what you don't like. So yeah, I think in the end, I think that's what people need to learn from these sort of award show things is that these guys like they aren't going to always conform to what you think deserves to be the winners in these categories. And if you disagree, then you just have to sort of understand that you have differing opinions, and that's all.
And I will say this: if we ever do this again, we're probably not going to have this kind of discussion. But I think it's because of this, because of how The Last of Us came out that we couldn't just ignore. Like, see the bad rap. It's a bad rap for a lot of people. That's how it is. We can't ignore the criticism that the Game Awards has received. But I still enjoyed the awards. It was a lot of fun to see the new games. Some of the games I feel might have been snubbed. Some of the games fell with their award. I think overall it was a good showcase. What do you guys think?
I thought this year's Game Awards was solid. I will say, like obviously thought all of the winners do definitely deserve those wins. I will say the announcements and various reveals of things were honestly all right. The Smash reveal obviously being the best, and you start the show right with it, which I think it's sort of just I won't lie, like for me that's where like the announcement peaked, and everything else. Like, don't get me wrong, Perfect Dark is nice, but it's a CG trailer. The new that new sort of Left 4 Dead spiritual successor, Back 4 Blood looks nice, but it's whatever. A new Mass Effect being in development is just the funniest thing to me because just the phrasing of Mass Effect will continue. It's just sort of like, man, people really thought Mass Effect was dead. Andromeda, they really I don't know. I just find that just so funny. That's like, don't worry, guys, Mass Effect's still alive. All right, just please don't think it's dead. Please don't think it's dead.
We're still here.
Listen, we're making the new Dragon Age. We're gonna fix Anthem, hopefully, maybe. Andromeda was just a fluke. Don't worry about it. I don't know. It's just very funny to me.
Okay, what are your thoughts on the Game Awards before we go?
I thought it was alright as well. Much better than last year. Because there wasn't as much ads as there were last year compared to this year. And yeah, like I said, some choices for the awards, I would agree with. I thought it was fine. I still think Doom Eternal should have at least won one award. Didn't have to be Game of the Year. Could have been audio or soundtrack, but in the end, I thought it was pretty alright.
Yeah, and I agree. And who knows? Maybe next year will be a lot more exciting. We got Horizon Zero Dawn 2, God of War 2, Halo Infinite,
Resident Evil Village, Balan Wonderworld. Hopefully the Breath of the Wild sequel. No More Heroes 3.
Yeah, next year is running up to be a good year.
Yeah.
Year is gonna be packed, for big budget games and stuff. And the Game Awards next year will probably be. There's gonna be a ton of competition there. I can already tell.
And who knows what may be the year after.
I mean, heck, Cyberpunk will probably be in contention. Although, given how rocky the launch has been, it might have hindered some of its chances.
I mean, maybe we'll see some surprises. I mean, Persona 5 Strikers coming out this February. Maybe we'll see that for Best Action Game.
Who knows? We might have more fighting games to be announced than not just Guilty Gear Strive.
Yeah, maybe like Arc has another game coming up. Again, they're still working on Dragon Ball FighterZ. Maybe they're working on another IP, hopefully one that is bizarre.
Maybe Capcom can come back in the Marvel versus Capcom game.
Like we're seeing, One Up Arcade re-releasing all the classic Marvel fighting games, like Marvel Superheroes, Marvel vs. Capcom, X-Men vs. Street Fighter. So there's some kind of relationship going on. So hopefully we can see something more come out, outside of the arcade machines.
I will say that was my one disappointment because the constant joke I've been making for all of 2020 has been like, because of those arcade machines, I'm like, listen, Marvel 2 HD re-release on current gen and next gen systems. Come on, Capcom, please. And it's December, and nothing.
Who knows?
We're gonna have an Evo tournament for Marvel 2, and they weren't gonna do anything for Marvel 2 in some form.
Who knows? Crazy stuff happened. We thought Scott Pilgrim would never come back after the weird legal limbo between Universal, the author, and Ubisoft. But it's coming back this January. They talked it out and they got it to bring it back. So who knows? There's always surprising things ahead of us.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
That's true. And anyways, I think this is a good spot to end it. Thank you guys for checking us out, thinking about hearing our reaction to the Game Awards. If you enjoyed our last episode, I'm pretty sure you enjoyed this episode. We were centered a lot more on the on how The Last of Us 2 actually winning the Game Award and the reaction to that. Yeah, but it's something I thought we need to talk about. If you enjoyed us, please follow us on social media through our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts at the Geek Centurions. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll find a link tree to where you can hear us on different podcasting sites like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can also listen to us on Pandora, Spotify, all that good stuff. And there's also a link to our YouTube where you can comment, like, and subscribe, and get to see our lovely faces whenever you hear us talk. And be sure to let us know what we can do there as well. And you can support us through Patreon. We have a Patreon set up just in case you guys want to support us. Anything you provide is great for us. There's a lot of stuff we want to do, and really, we're gonna need some dough for that. And if you don't, it's fine too. And yeah, I think that's about it. We had a lot of fun with the Game Awards. We might be able to chunk out a couple more episodes before the end of the year, before we get to our New Year and Christmas break. But aside from that, I'm glad you guys were able to check us out and listen to us. Let's say our goodbyes. Daniel, start us off.
All right, this was the Geek Centurions. I am Daniel.
It's been me, Joe.
And it's your good old boy, Eli. And as Dan said, we have the Geek Centurions. And you guys enjoy. Peace.